It is now Tuesday, March 8th, I believe. And it's like probably 4 in the morning or something. Could even be 5 in the morning. I don't think it's 5 in the morning though. It's not light enough out. But I want to talk about something that I've probably talked about in the past in a different way. I know this is a horrible camera angle, but I don't really have a place to prop this up. I know I've talked about my desire to lose weight in the past, and I know I've talked about my bad eating habits, and I know I've probably talked about depression and stuff like that. And I've probably made videos and never posted them about how depressing it was being on Weight Watchers and starving myself and not seeing any results. Now, I am currently down to 304 from 328 at the beginning of the year, and I'm trying to keep that going. I got stomach flu either at the beginning of the year or the end of last year. And before that, this is how bad my sweets addiction was. And I'm saying this to be candid, be honest with people who might be feeling the same way. I don't know why, right? I would come I would get up, and if there was candy in the house, I would eat that while I was getting ready for work. You know, and then I would somehow get candy on the way to work. Get something sweet. Cookies at McDonald's, something. Or take candy with me from here in my bag and just be eating it all day. Because for some reason in my mind that was okay. You're already fat, Jess. Who cares, right? I should have cared. And I did care, but I didn't know how to turn my, you know. And then I would, while still having candy in my bag, that wasn't enough for me. I had to go get 2 candy bars out of the vending machine. Hershey bar, 3 Musketeers, whatever it was. Then 2 Mountain Dews. By the way, at this point I had been drinking tea all day, too. Water, intermittently, just so I didn't get a UTI, just so I didn't completely destroy my kidneys, right? But tea. And probably some kind of like coffee some days. Full of sugar, by the way. You know, I wasn't doing diet anything. Now I do, but that's just because I like to have a taste of something sometimes besides water. But I don't need the sugar and I don't need the excess shit, right? But back to the 2 20-ounce Mountain Dews that I would drink. And unless guilt kicked in and I got halfway through that second Mountain Dew and it was a little warm and I didn't want it anymore, that's what made me stop on those days. But I would eat the candy bars. I would eat the candy that was buried in my little purse. I would then on the way home stop and get another fucking candy bar from whatever store I went to. Sheetz, a different convenience store, whatever. Buy a tea too. The fuck did you need that for, Jess? Whap. Then come home, and after I ate that, my brain was still like, nope, you still need something. There's still something there, just a bit. And if there was candy, I was eating it. If there was Nutella, give me a spoon. I was eating it. And I'm not completely reformed. I still have, like, pizza now and then. I still, you know. But here's the thing. For some reason, when I got the stomach flu, I came out of it not craving chocolate. Chocolate was a big one. And I still drink chocolate Core Power. They're made by Fairlife. They sell them at some convenience stores. And they don't have as many calories as other protein shakes that I've noticed. Like, I've thought about, oh, the dollar store has these other protein ones. Nope. Twice as many calories. Because I'm also trying to lower my calorie intake, because I want you to sit there and think of what the calories for those things that I just mentioned would be on top of regular food. Because I would eat regular food before I left for work, as well as the candy. I would eat regular food on my break, or fast food that had, like, actual meat and actual stuff in it while I was eating the candy. Then I would come home and eat actual food. Then I would eat the candy, and the Nutella, and the tea, or the soda, or whatever. I was probably eating 2 to 3 times as many calories a day that I should have been. you're supposed to eat between 2,000 and 2,500 calories a day as an adult. I don't believe that. I don't think everybody needs that. I don't think everyone's metabolism calls for it. It's a general number, but there's definitely individuals who don't want that. There's definitely individuals that don't need it. And then you had me, who was eating 3,000 to 6,000 calories a day, and I'm telling you that because there would be days where I would eat Burger King thinking, this will fill me up. And it did, because I would eat half of it, and then I would microwave the other half when I got hungry later. Because a triple Whopper is like 1,200 calories, 1,300 calories, if you add cheese. I'm being nice to myself here, right? So, and that's, without onion rings or fries or a fucking soda. The soda was 400 to 500 calories. The onion rings were 200 to 300. Or 400 even. So, I've also taken to, if I go to a fast food place, I only get the sandwich. And I'll try and have like a water or something, because sometimes you are out and you get hungry and you don't want to, especially if you're running errands, you don't want to go in somewhere and and there are ways that you can eat a burger that have, include less carbs. Like, you can take the bun off of it. You know what I mean? It's not impossible, right? But the thing is, back to my original point. For some reason, when I got this stomach flu, after I came out of it, I wasn't craving it as much. So I was like, okay, I'm going to go with it. So I also started cutting carbs back. And drinking more water. And putting more protein into my body. Instead of, if I get hungry and I'm feeling snacky, there are times where I will purposely make a can of tuna with mayonnaise in a bowl. And I will eat that with a spoon or a fork. Because I'm like, okay, my body's craving this because it's missing something else. Or it doesn't feel full enough. Or there's something. So I'm going to put at least protein and fat in my body. There's something. So my brain goes and shuts up for a little bit. Long enough to maybe figure out that I'm not actually fucking deficient in anything. Look at me. I still weigh 304. I'm 5'9". Think I wanted this? I jokingly make a lot of jokes about me being the bigger friend, or that I can defend myself because I'm heavier, or that I can defend others because I'm heavier and I'm big and scary. And there's a little bit of truth to that, but for the most part, it's just me being like, well, at least if I'm this big, blank, blank, blank. But I know that at 5'9", I would be intimidating at any fucking size. Unless I was 100 pounds on my deathbed. Another thing about the foods that I was eating is that I was unknowingly poisoning myself. Because guess what sugar does? Some of you don't know this. Sugar essentially feeds cancer. And technically, we all have cancer. Our body just fights it off all the time. When you're diagnosed, that means it's not being fought off right. And personally, I was like, you know what? I'm going to quit eating sugar, or mostly quit eating sugar, just for that. Another thing is, people will sit there and tell you, there's nothing wrong with sugar, it's natural. Here's the thing, we were never, whether you believe in God or nature or whatever, I don't believe God intended for us to be addicted to sugar, or salt, or fat, or stimulants, or anything that he made. I think he made all these things on this planet for us to sit there and have if we needed it. Sometimes you need caffeine because you're a little tired, but you have some things to do, and you don't want to go to bed quite yet. But we aren't supposed to live on caffeine. Sometimes you want something to be a little sweeter, a little bit of sugar. But because we've all been desensitized to sugar in general, we have to add a lot of sugar. We're supposed to be able to really taste sugar when it's in a teaspoon. And I can't eat as much sugar as I used to. It becomes sickening to me. And I'm not saying this from a point of I'm above everyone who eats sugar. I eat sugar, but it's just not in the same volume. I used to just sit, and those okay, one time I ordered a box, and I forget how many was in them. It was the Reese's Easter eggs, the little ones, like the little individually wrapped ones. And I ordered them because I was sick of going to the store and buying them. My fat ass was like, this is more efficient. I'm totally not going to sit there and eat 12 of them in one sitting and feel like crap. And guess what she did? I did. That's where these chins came from. Actually, I had those chins before that, but part of the construction came from it, you know. But anyways, there was either 50 in it or something, and I would sit there and just mindlessly unwrap them individually and fucking eat them. And I look at myself now and I think, why did I do that? It's because I was addicted to sugar. That's been a big thing for me, and I knew I was addicted to food in general because anytime a fast food item would come out, oh, I want to go try that. Anytime a new Oreo, I want to go try that. New Peeps, let's go try that. But I didn't just try it. I'd buy a whole pack. The shit was in my house. If it's in my house, I'm eating it. And that is where my next comment comes from, right? You know how people always give you, you sit there and you say, oh, I can't, I'm on a diet. Don't deprive yourself. Shut up. Shut up. Absolutely fucking deprive yourself. And let me tell you why. Because the addiction to the food comes from being exposed to such a high amount of the negative thing in that food. And what that negative thing does, like sugar, it does something to your brain that your brain treats as positive. But it's not something that your brain is constantly supposed to have an overabundance of. It's not something that your brain is supposed to just be able to... It's something that's supposed to be regulated in your brain. Something that your brain is supposed to have if it needs it, or, you need it to feel good. If you have so much sugar in your body that you get depressed when you don't, you get tired when you don't, it's essentially somebody who's, doing crack, doesn't have the crack, now they're all fucking whacked out. And that's why I say deprive yourself. Quit buying it so it's not in your house. If you're in that aisle of the store, just remember what's in that product. Because another thing about it is, to really be on, which I'm not even going to call this keto, because I'm trying to avoid carbs and sugar, yes, but I'm not at the level that some people are. Because I don't want to sit there and cut anything completely out of my diet, because I don't want my body to be thrown off if there is a situation where the only thing to eat is a carb or a sugar, and I feel hungry. Okay, let's say you go to someone's house and you forgot to eat before you went to their house. We've all done it. And you don't want to overeat, but your brain's like, you need to eat. And your stomach's like, I'm fucking empty. But all there is like brownies on the fucking table. You can have a brownie. That's not going to fucking kill you. That's not going to fucking hurt you. It's not going to reinstate your sugar addiction. But you are going to feel like shit after you eat it if you haven't had sugars and carbs very much. That's one thing I've noticed. I go into a carb coma when I eat things that are carby and sugary. Like, I'll eat them. But if I sit down at any point after eating them, and I won't take a really long nap. It'll be like half an hour to an hour, and then I wake up spontaneously. And I know what it is. It's because the blood sugar spike. That's what it is. And I used to feel like crap without realizing I felt like crap. Which, back to the, deprive yourself thing, if you're like me. If you know that you're addicted to it and the only way to get that out of your system is by not fucking eating it, then don't fucking eat it. Don't let people talk you into having 3 pieces of cake. I've had days where I've fucked up since I've started trying to lose this weight. There was a day where they had a fucking $60 sheet cake at work and it was in the break room next to me. While I was eating my normal food, and it's like, hey, how you doing? Been a while since you had icing, huh? And I'm like, you know what? This weight didn't go on overnight. It ain't gonna come off overnight anyway. And it's true, I haven't had some good-ass cake. So my ass eats 2 slices. And then the next day, it's still in there. So my ass eats 2 more. because I went to eat 3 and threw one of them away because my brain went, you're a piece of shit. Stop doing this. Deprive yourself. Because guess what? Yes, I ate cake when I was at work. And yes, it was bad for me. And yes, I scraped up the icing and put it on top that other people hadn't eaten. Like, you know how when you have a sheet cake and it's on that cardboard and you pick up a slice, some of the icing stays? Some people just go, fuck it, I don't want to be greedy. I'm like, bitch, I'm going to be greedy. Anyways. But I would, like, take that icing and put it on top. Because I'm like, I want a little bit of extra icing. Because I ain't going to eat this for a while. And by the way, these are the Quest protein chips. They are loaded taco flavored. They're pretty good. And they're actually pretty crunchy if you want something crunchy. They're not as thick as a Dorito. But they're somewhere in between, like, a Dorito and a Pringle. Or, like, you know those baked Lays that pretend to be healthy, but they're fucking not? Anyway. It's not just sugars, though. It's carbs. Like, I always say, like, yes, deprive yourself, because there's certain things that, if you've been overeating them, and you're trying to break the addiction that your brain has, it's a good thing to not eat them. Because if you eat them, you might activate your brain's, hey, you need to eat that. You'd have more of that right now. That was really good, and I missed that. There's always a chance, right? Like the fucking cake thing. I was so glad when I went back into work and it wasn't there. I was like, oh my god. Y'all nearly kicked me off my deficit. How dare you? Like it's their fault I'm a fat fuck. But anyways, yeah. Back to the like carb coma thing, as I call it. It's not really a coma, because like I said, usually it's like maybe half an hour to an hour of a nap, and it's usually on a day, because if I'm up and moving, it doesn't happen. If I'm up and moving and I'm using those carbs that I consumed, it doesn't really happen. But if I eat carbs and I sit and I start like watching TV or something like that, I'll conk out for like half an hour to an hour. And usually that happens on a day where like I have the day off. So the night before I stayed up way too fucking late, so I am genuinely tired and I did not get enough sleep. So it could be a little bit of both. It could be a little bit of like, oh, you're getting tired because of the carbs and the blood sugar spike, but also time for a nap because you didn't sleep much. But yeah, like this is just a video updating on like how I'm doing and like